So I woke up, I've had a look at the news, and there's some really, really big news surrounding Cardano ADA and the potential for a spot ETF. So stay tuned because I've got some really big information to share with you all. Let's get to it. Let's go. So we're going to start here on coin market cap before we get into the really big Cardano news. The total market cap of crypto globally is up 0.44%, sitting at $3.79 trillion. And a lot of people, are aware that I believe that this bull market is likely to hit around the $10 trillion mark come the peak of the bull run. And, we're right on the cusp of potential for a Fed, interest rate cut that would see more liquidity drive or be driven, I should say, into the crypto space. So, real positivity, but some volatility also on the horizon, in my humble opinion. Obviously, none of this is financial advice. Treat this purely as entertainment purposes only or educational purposes only. Always do your own research. Investing in crypto is very risky. Bitcoin BTC 108,759.74, up 0.22% in the past 24 hours, but down a whopping 5.35% in the last 7 days. We have seen the Bitcoin dominance slowly decline over the past few months, leading into people perhaps going into Ethereum. And then, we normally, historically have seen people move out of Ethereum into other altcoins. So we have seen a new all-time high recently for Ethereum. There's a lot going on in the crypto market, but Cardano ADA down 8.9% in the past 7 days, sat at 83.05 cents. I think that this, for me at least, in my humble opinion, is a price that I'm willing to pay, because I do think that it's potentially undervalued, particularly with the big news that I'm going to be sharing with you in today's video. But let's get into the actual headlines. Let's dig into what I'm talking about and why I think people need to, be keeping an eye on Cardano ADA. So we got Cardano price prediction 2025. Why analysts see a major move upwards or major upside when it comes to Cardano ADA. It's caught the attention of the market again, with price action forming a setup that traders say could ignite the next major move. This is something I talked about in the previous video a couple of days ago, targeting $1.30, $1.80 in the medium term. So there's a lot of optimism around Cardano, and particularly the spot ETF optimism adding fuel to this prediction. And look, I've been talking about this even before the Bitcoin spot ETF was announced as going live, right? That there would be an Ethereum one, and I was on podcasts, with 𝗗𝗀𝘀𝗰𝗱 and various others, and I was, saying that the Ethereum spot ETF was inevitable. I also went on to say that I expected altcoins like Cardano, like Chainlink, XRP, Avalanche, and a few others would also get spot ETFs, and I still very much believe this. Obviously, we're seeing filings for them. I think that, with confidence, I can say it's inevitable, in my opinion, that we will also see these altcoins get spot ETFs. So it's going to be interesting, right? And the big pullback for Cardano ADA, in my opinion, has really been because the US are not having it in the reserve, right? But then there's talks of Kronos getting a portion allocated to it out of the US. Again, just really interesting stuff, and for me, I just see that as a really big shitcoin, but that's my opinion. We got Grayscale submits S1 filing for Cardano ADA ETF. And the community is reacting really, really positively. So I do think that it's inevitable that these spot ETFs get approved. We've got regulation in place now. We've got a lot of real positivity out of the US, right? That pivot that we went from negative out of the US into crypto, and there's lots of negativity. It was all regulation through enforcement action from the SEC, and I did say a long time ago that I was expecting Gary Gensler out and a big U-turn on that, and we have seen that. And I think that this is stuff that is going to continue to happen, right? We're seeing an evolution of positivity towards crypto. So my expectations, obviously not financial advice, treat this as entertainment purposes only. Go away, do your own research, contact a financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor, just so we're clear. Investing in crypto is very risky. You do risk losing all of your money. So just be mindful. But these are my views and my opinions. It doesn't mean that any of it's factual, right? And is guaranteed, because nothing is guaranteed in crypto. So Cardano price prediction: ADA holds key support as ETF buzz fuels $1 breakout hopes. Again, it's one of those. I think we're undervalued at the moment. This is just my opinion. Cardano is holding key support levels, and the buzz and the technical signals hint at the potential breakout, towards the $1 mark. I mentioned obviously $1.30 and also $1.80. Now, those are nowhere near previous all-time high for Cardano ADA, so I think they're very much possible. But Grayscale goes bullish on ADA. 60 billion asset manager Grayscale just filed with the SEC for Cardano and Polkadot ETFs. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all sort of plans out over time. And you can see the details here. So again, just really positive, and we are seeing lots of people using trend lines and expecting a big move to the upside for Cardano. I do think that this stuff is coming. I think that it's going to be probably a green month in September. A lot of people have been saying red. I think we will get some red. But I think, in the first half, at least, of September, we're going to see green in the market. And I think, the second half, after the 17th in particular, I think we're going to see some red in the market and potentially some buying opportunities. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments below. And then we got Zach XBT labels Ripple, Cardano, Hedera as insider enriching schemes. Again, just really interesting, right? This is basically a tweet that he put out and then he removed later. I'm not sure why he posted it and then removed it. But, he has, been putting out quite a lot of mocking posts. And, if he's got that opinion, truly got that opinion, well, what about Ethereum Foundation selling Ethereum at the peak of, basically bringing in the peak of each bull run historically? Is that also an insider enriching scheme? It's interesting, these views and opinions, but actually when you kind of put it out there in the open and you actually look at the raw data and what's been going on, you could say that about every project in the crypto space, in my opinion. And then we got Cardano price prediction: ADA could reach $1.50 quickly after breaking $1. Again, just more people talking about, the $1.30 to $1.80 price predictions. Obviously, none of this is guaranteed. They are just price examples, but I think they're realistic price examples. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but my views, my opinions, obviously, take them with a pinch of salt, is, $7 is the absolute peak blue sky world price prediction that I've got for Cardano ADA. That means that you need, the ecosystem to grow through the Bitcoin bridge with DeFi. You do need a spot ETF to bring in, institutional money and so on. So, absolute blue sky, there's no hurdles. $7 is the absolute peak for the bull run for Cardano ADA, in my opinion. and it is just that. It's just an opinion. Let me know your opinions in the comments below on price. Really interested to get your views and opinions. Remember, none of this is financial advice. Treat this purely as educational purposes only. Go away, do your own research. Never invest more than you're willing to lose, because you do risk losing it all if you invest in cryptocurrency. Need you to all be fully aware of that. And, nothing is guaranteed in life, let alone crypto. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.